Hello, Internet, and welcome to episode 28 of Verbal Graffiti with your host, Brian Glass, aka the B-Man, the People's Degenerate. Dap it up? Nope. One of my favorite inside jokes is when I'm outside a club dapping it up with a bunch of comics. If there's a comic I don't know very well or someone I dislike and they go to dap me up, what I will do is I will walk past that person and continue to make eye contact with him while I don't dap him up. And I'll give him a look as if to say, you think I'm going to touch your skin with my skin? Get the fuck out of here. And I just keep walking. And I love looking back after and see the bewildered look on his face because I was super nice with everybody else, but then it kind of stiffed him. It makes me laugh on the inside. I've been thinking a lot about my friend. I dap him up. I'll say that much. He's a comedian. His name is Joe. I won't say his last name because he does have a full-time real job. He's a little bit older. He's maybe mid-50s. He kind of looks like Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but shorter. Like he's a portly fellow, beer belly black, shaved head. He has a jolly laugh, kind of like Saint Nick, Santa Claus. It's infectious. Very, very nice guy. He likes to tell sexual jokes, drink whiskey, and smoke weed outside of whatever venue we're doing comedy at. And he was on stage a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about how he was a pimp in North Carolina, which caught me off guard because, like I said, he's a very nice, friendly guy. I just didn't get that vibe that was the type of person he was. So afterwards, he's outside just taking a puff of his weed. He asked me if I want some. I politely declined because I love my lungs. And I asked him, hey, you were talking about the pimp stuff on stage. Was that real? And he's like, yeah. I used to be a pimp. And then I got into it. I'm like, well, how did you become a pimp? Because your personality tells me that doesn't seem like what you would be. And then he told me, well, he was in North Carolina and he had a girlfriend who started tricking, and she needed someone to drive her to see the Johns or motels, wherever, the sexual acts were going down. So he started driving his friend, and then she talked to all her other prostitutes and said, yeah, I got this guy who drives me. He's a nice guy. So my friend Joe started driving all these other women to go see their Johns and then he just kind of, one thing led to another, and he became a big time pimp in North Carolina. And he was telling me his nickname or his pimp name was Butterscotch. And then I asked Joe, I go, so were you sucking a lot of like butterscotch candy when you were like pimping? And he said, yeah. Like, he says, I loved hard candy, so I was always sucking on a candy. And then I asked him as a follow-up, I go, hey, Joe, did you ever like take, when one of your ladies was getting out of order, would you take out the butterscotch and toss it at her and, right in the forehead? And he said, no, I never did that, which isn't surprising to me because Joe is a very nice, friendly guy. But me, if I was a pimp and I was a butterscotch sucker, I would take it out and I would just throw it at my prostitutes. It's not so much like the hitting her, it's the stickiness that would be on her temple afterwards. That's annoying. Like you got to wipe it off and then wipe it on your leg. There's something about getting hit with like gum or something sticky that's just, it's more annoying than the actual suddenness of it. It's the lingering effect. But I started thinking about like, Joe was not somebody like I didn't see pimp energy in him, and I started to evaluate myself like could I be a pimp? I do love some pimp movies. The thing is, like, I like drama. I love, especially when it comes to sex and love life and dating and relationships. I love hearing people's drama. I don't like drama in my own life, but if it's coming from other people and how the shit's going on in their life, I love it. So I think that aspect of the pimp job, I would enjoy, driving her back home from the motel or hotel or the John's house or the brothel. and just hearing her like asking, well, how was the guy? Like, what was he like? What were his kinks? Was he able to keep it up? Was there lube? Was he packing? Was he aggressive? Was he on like? Does he have daddy issues, mommy issues? I would love to gossip. I would love, especially if there were multiple. Like a harem of women, and they were like all in the back seat of my. Listen, if I'm a pimp, I'm gonna drive like a 1970s Plymouth Barracuda, because if you're a pimp, you got to come correct with your vehicle. Especially you got to have a muscle car. So let's say it's a Plymouth Barracuda. You park it outside on the street, and pimps don't park in the garage because you got to be seen and you got to see. So you got to park on the street, lean up against your muscle car, and just kind of watch people wander by. You got to dress well. I could do the dressing well. Pimp. I'm thinking you got to wear, you're wearing bell bottoms with a big belt buckle, with a tucked in shirt, with a big collar that's loud, with a brown beat up leather jacket, with the hat, with the feather, with the walking cane, with the medallion thing on top, and kind of walk with attitude, like you have a harem of women or of babes, and then everybody in the neighborhood knows you have a harem of women underneath your control. Like that, all of that, I think I could pull that off, at least for a 6-month period. The part that I don't think I could do as a pimp is the muscle. The part where when a John acts up with one of my ladies or gets out of line, or there's a dispute between the babes in my harem, and then I have to go beat someone up. I've never been in a fist fight in my life. I am very passive aggressive. I like to, like I said, I like drama, but not when it involves me. And I imagine being a pimp, there's a lot of disputes and arguments, and that would involve me. And that whole aspect of having to put people in line and carry a knife, and maybe having to, not slice someone's throat, but slice, just the side of their ear to let them know that you're willing to go to where you need to go to get your money. Like, that's something I don't think I have that in me. And it's a shame that I do not have that in me, because the rest of it, the persona of pimp, I could exemplify. I can do that. It's just like Halloween, but every day. It's just the actual action of having to get in there and beat down a guy and maybe roll up a body in a rug and go out to like the Jersey Turnpike and toss a body. I'm not saying I can't do it. I'm just saying it would take a lot of therapy, a lot of self-reflection, a lot of training with a personal body lifter to get to the point where I can do that and have everyone in my neighborhood know that I will do that. And I asked Joe, and he said he never did any of that stuff, and that's why he left the pimp game, because he wasn't willing to slice somebody with a pocket knife. Man, I think I could be a pimp. I can't even get a girlfriend. What makes me think I could have a harem of women when I can't even get one girl to go on 2 dates with me? We really went somewhere with that one. Let's get into the episode, all right? This comes from the subreddit Gift Ideas. Gift idea for wife. With our children going to daycare, $50 to $200. Hello. I'm trying to work on an idea for my wife. Our son is starting daycare soon. Good for you. And this is mostly like our last child. Aw. Our other child is already in DC. I'm assuming that's daycare. And it feels like a big moment. It's not. She heads back to work in a month, and plans to get ready for that are in full swing. Our children are no longer home with her anymore. I thought about flowers, but my worry with flowers is we have a cat, and that cat will be all over that shit. So not sure if this is a good idea. I thought about an edible arrangement, but it sort of just feels like cheap gesture. If my imaginary wife took to Reddit to ask if an edible arrangement or dozen of flowers was a gift for me, I would immediately file for divorce so fast that I'd get a paper cut delivering the papers to my imaginary wife. And you bet your ass I'm coming for full custody of the children. And I'm taking your brother's beagle because he spends most of the time at our house anyway. That's how upset I am with this post. Do you not have any 1 ounce of romance left in the blood pumping from your heart? This is such an embarrassing post, and I weep outwardly for this wife because you have a husband who has no love, no passion pumping from his veins. Let's digress because calm down, B-man. A fun thing to do, a fun activity, trust me, this is fun. Go to CVS at 4 p.m. on Valentine's Day, and what you'll see there are a bunch of husbands in line with that heart-shaped box full of the cheap chocolate. That represents a marriage that's been thrown out in the ocean, never to be recaptured. Because that husband is begrudgingly buying a gift out of obligation. That heart-shaped box of chocolates is the equivalent of a fire iron meekly just stoking at a flame that simmered out years ago, probably before your first child, if you had any love to begin with your marriage. I get such a joy out of seeing other people's miserable relationships, and nothing is like that than that cheap with the saran wrap around the box, with the 25 chocolates, and they're all terrible and crunchy. That you might as well do that. I mean, flowers. You had to go to Reddit to ask if flowers were a good gift. Not only is it not a good gift, it is maybe the most unoriginal gift of all time. What are you going to do? You're going to go to the graveyard and heist a flower from a dead person you've never met? An edible arrangement, that's even worse than flowers. Oh, I'm starting to get a cramp in my leg. I'm sorry. No, edible arrangement. I went for a run today, and it's humid here for the first time this year, so I need to hydrate. Where was I at? Oh yeah. I hate edible arrangements. The original concept was fantastic. Like, I don't know when it came out, early 2000s, maybe in the 90s. If you were buying edible arrangements then, great. But now, the cat's out of the bag. Like, everybody knows edible arrangement, the fruit is terrible. The pineapple, it's so like rough, and it gets stuck between your teeth, and even like the strongest floss, they can't pick out that pineapple. It has no flavor. And the strawberries are so tough. There's no juice at all. I mean, you could use the strawberries from an edible arrangement to stone a lady that's stolen something from CVS. That's how terrible the fruit is that's part of an edible arrangement. And also, if you get the edible arrangements that have like the chocolate covered strawberries, when you bite into the chocolate, like there's that crunch that just signifies that it's a cheap chocolate. The only people that should get edible arrangements for a gift are the overweight people who work at the front desk who wear a moo to work every day. The people you get a gift out of obligation, but you're telling that person like, hey, I'm buying this for you, but I'd rather hire a hot 23-year-old straight out of college if it were possible. I will say, though, I want to tell you what is a gift. My gift idea is to rent out an ice cream truck, have it come to your house, have a message written on the side of the ice cream truck so that everyone on your street knows, like, oh, wow, she's going back to work, and everyone can congratulate her when they see her walking the dog or your cat. And it's an original gesture. And who doesn't love an ice cream truck? So that's one idea. I had a couple others. What were some of the others? Oh, idea number two, gift idea number two is a fucking daycare parking lot while nobody's there. That's fun. Do it like the movie Grease. It's romantic. Who doesn't love the fucking an empty parking lot? Gift idea number three is ask for a paternity test for that child that's 1 month old. Every wife loves that. Gift idea number 4 was, all right, I can't read that. Go to a concert. 5. Gift idea number 5 is breakfast in bed, and then clean the house while she's at work that first day. And number 6 is write a heartfelt love you note with a felt pen. Felt pen. I say that because we'll get to that in the next segment and you'll understand why. Some of those were humorous ideas, some of those were real ones. But go with the ice cream truck. It's going to kill. You'll get sloppy top and she'll swallow. Let's go see some photos now. The B-Man found himself in a predicament this morning. Please allow me to elaborate. It was a thunder, lightning, pouring rain this morning, and like most days, I was watching my sister's dog, Daisy. I work remote. I'm not customer facing, so it's just easier if I watch her. And she gets very skittish with loud noises, and she takes for cover. This morning, she took cover by the side of our toilet. I'll put a photo here. It's adorable. Here's the predicament, though. I pee standing up and I have terrible aim like most men. And sometimes my pee will ricochet onto the floor. This morning, Daisy was right there. I didn't want to pee on her. So I sat down to pee, the things you do for love. It did get me thinking though. It did. My father died years ago, and I found out from my brother Kevin after my dad's death that my dad would always pee sitting down. And one of my big regrets in life is not being able to ask my dad, like, why do you do that? Because my dad was 6'5", so sitting down to pee was a long way down. It was comfortable sitting down this morning, so maybe my dad was onto something. Maybe I'll continue to do it. But the big lesson here is if you have a loved one who's still alive, maybe if you have any inclinations that they do something a little bit different in the bathroom, ask them while you still can. Okay, that's P 2 episodes in a row. We're going to see if we can put an end to that. Sorry about that. Let's get to this one. Comes from the subreddit, Fountain Pens, My Little Inky Family. While it's nothing compared to some, this is the state of the collection at the moment, less the Kiwiko piston filler that I've already lost. Impulse control went west in 2023, hence the no buy 2024 ahem. What I like about this post, and the wild thing about, before we even get into the post, the wild thing is it's a very active subreddit. The Fountain Pens subreddit has over 250,000 members, and there's tens of posts each day with a lot of commenters. Wild. I was not expecting that. So hey, I guess there's a thing here for fountain pens. The thing I like about it though is sometimes I get really down on myself for wasting money. It's like, did I really need that Yankees t-shirt? I already have 3. Why did I waste $25? Did I really need to buy that burrito this weekend? I mean, I had eaten 3 hours prior and I really wasn't that hungry. Did I really need extra guac for an extra $4? And I'll get really upset with myself for just needlessly wasting money like the fucking America I am. And when I see a post like this with someone wasting money on fountain pens, it makes me feel better about myself, knowing that someone else is dipping into their 401k for something that just they don't need, which is a fountain pen. Having 20 plus fountain pens, to me, I cringe just knowing that person wakes up each morning and before they start their work or their tasks or put their notes together, they have to decide which pen they're going to use. And that just seems like too much wasting brain power on something you don't need to be wasting brain power on. It's the complete opposite of the Louis C.K. model. Louis C.K., at least at one point, he would always wear a black t-shirt every day. So he would never have to think about what he was going to wear each day. He was not a member of Bandana Summer 2024. This guy in the post, he's waking up, pens laid out, numbered. Just it probably takes him 5 minutes before he can even get his day started, choosing which pen he's going to use. When I think of pens, the only thing I think of are like high quality pens. I think of a multinational corporation gifting you a pen after 15 years. And I would be like, great, thanks for the pen, but I'd rather have a paperweight with our company's bland logo on it. Because, most corporations have shitty logos that have that give you no feel or memory at all. I don't buy expensive pens, but as a comic, I am a little bit particular. No, I am a little particular about the pens that I use. So I can kind of relate to where this guy is at. I use a Paper Mates Flare Medium. It's like a pen / marker, and I keep them everywhere just in case I come up with a joke or an idea or a sketch. I usually have one in my pocket. These don't like explode, so they won't ruin my pants. I keep one in my car. I keep one in my desk. I keep one by my bedside table. I keep one in my bathroom. I always have spare ones just in case the ink wears out. So I can't sympathize with this guy for, having a pen that he likes. And what I like about the Paper Mate pen marker is that for me, it's the perfect middle ground between an expensive fountain pen, which looking at those, I mean, I'm guessing some of those are probably over $50, and a cheap Bic pen. There's nothing worse than a Bic pen. You remember being in high school, you'd have the pen, you'd be taking notes, and then afterwards you'd have the blue smudge mark on your pinky, and then you look at your notes and there'd be smudge marks and you couldn't read it, and then you just have a crampy fingers without being able to read any of the work. So that's why I like the Paper Mate. It dries quickly. It does seep onto the other side of the paper, but I don't write on both sides of the paper because I'm trying to kill the environment one piece of paper at a time. I feel like I rambled a little bit with that one, but man, fountain pens, who knew? I thought once like the phone came out with like the Notes app, that expensive pens kind of went out of style unless you were going to write like a romantic note to your dog or lover. So I guess the fountain pens, they're big. People are still buying them. So if you're creative and you're good with your hands and you know where to get some ink, make some pens and start selling them on Etsy, because there are at least 250,000 buyers that I know on Reddit that will go to your site and buy your pens. So yeah, I think that's everything. Till next episode, go suck a fat one.